We are back for our daily college basketball best bets here on Tuesday, February 3rd. We've got a lot of college basketball action today after a great day yesterday for us in the channel. 4-1, could have been 5-0 if you waited to bet on Jackson State, but we had it at 4.5. So unfortunately, we did not cover with the Tigers, who made a miraculous late game comeback to send it to overtime. We didn't want overtime though in that game because they ended up losing to Southern at home by 5. But other than that, man, what a day for us. Maryland Eastern Shore on the road against NC Central. Basically the opposite of what happened in the Jackson State game. Well, kind of. Maryland Eastern Shore found a way to stay in that game throughout on the road against NC Central. Game started like an hour late too, but they pushed late in that game to get back into it. They kind of got robbed the late game foul call in favor of Central, but doesn't matter. They lost by 2 points. We covered the 3.5. Boston University with a great late game effort against Holy Cross, winning at -125. Big hit for us there. Kansas, I got scared in the second half with the Jayhawks. They went into halftime up by 3 or 4, was it? Texas Tech takes a 7-point lead at one point in the second half. Jayhawks come all the way back. They ended up winning the game. We had 4.5. They win it outright. And yes, Darren Peterson is the best player in college basketball. He is the undisputed #1 pick in the NBA draft. That dude is a player. He's a clutch time player. Those big threes against Texas Tech on the road in Lubbock. Oh my goodness, huge victory for the Kansas Jayhawks. I'm telling you, that team has Final Four written all over them. The way that they're playing, I don't know. They are really dangerous right now. And then how about Sacramento State? +105 for the Sac State Hornets at home, beating Weber State. We had said they had won 4 consecutive games at home. They've lost 1 home game all year long. Sacramento State puts 100 plus on Weber State to win that game at home. We go 4-1 in the day. That is now 4 consecutive winning days here on the channel. Let's look for more again today. Now, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on that channel. Leave a like as well while you're at it. Later today on the channel, our daily NBA best bets, so go make sure to check those out in a couple hours. And on Greedo, later today as well, how can I forget, our Super Bowl 60 predictions between the Seahawks and the Patriots. That'll be out later today on the channel. And on Greedo Plays MMA, our UFC fight at Batista versus Oliveira full card predictions, and our PFL Nurmagomedov versus Davis full card predictions. Both those are linked in the description down below over on Greedo Plays MMA. Go subscribe to Greedo Plays MMA if you have not yet. Okay, on to the first now of our 5 best bets for this Tuesday set of games. We kick things off with a 3:30 spot. I will warn you, these first 2 games are very low-level college basketball games, but I believe that's where the value is at today. Hell, yesterday we won on Maryland Eastern Shore, who I know is the best team in the MEAC, kind of, but that's low-level college basketball. And we won on BU versus Holy Cross, which were the 2 worst teams in the Patriot League. We have to look for semi-low-level basketball games for the best value today, and that starts with the rematch of Canisius and Niagara. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think this is where the value's at. +3 for the Canisius Golden Griffins. I'm seeing 3.5. I'm seeing 3. I'm seeing 2.5. I'll just put it at 3. Okay, if you can get 3.5, take the 3.5. I'm seeing some books at 2.5. I am seeing some books at 3 currently. So it is what it is. I'm going to take 3 points on the road for the Golden Griffins against the Niagara Purple Eagles. You're gonna hear this rationale twice in this video, but you're gonna hear it in back-to-back games. I don't think Niagara has it in them to beat anybody twice in one season. Okay, I know the Golden Griffins aren't very good, but again, I don't think Niagara has it in them to beat this team twice in 1 year. So we did bet on the initial matchup as Canisius was at home against Niagara, and maybe I should have known better at the time when the Golden Griffins were only a -130 favorite on their own home court against the low-level Purple Eagles, and Niagara went in there and won. Canisius played one of the worst basketball games I've ever seen. I think I said after that game and the next day that I would never bet on Canisius Golden Griffins basketball ever again. And well, here I am. Why? Because I don't think Niagara can do it again. Because I've watched Niagara play from here on out. They've sucked. They have not won a single game since beating the Golden Griffins over in Buffalo, dropping games to Mount St. Mary's, Fairfield, Sacred Heart, Siena, Marist. And this team in their last game scored 46 points on their own home court. Can I say that the Golden Griffins have been playing better basketball since their game against Niagara? They haven't won a game since they've played Niagara. This team hasn't won since how did they go to Manhattan and win? They went to Manhattan and won against Devin Dinkins and Jalen Winston back on January 9th. At the time, that capped off a 3-game winning streak where this team was 3-2 in their conference at one point in time with 3 straight wins over Fairfield, Sacred Heart, and Manhattan. Since then, nothing but L's. 7 straight of them for the Golden Griffins. Iona on the road in New Rochelle where they dropped 48 points. 54 against Niagara, but it's only been up from there in terms of scoring. They haven't won since, but in terms of their overall scoring totals, how about 68 points against Mount St. Mary's in a 10-point loss, losing to Sacred Heart on the road only by 3, Fairfield on the road by 6, losing an overtime game at home to Marist, and then losing their last game at home to Siena. But at least, again, we are kind of on the up and ups with this team scoring-wise. Niagara still really struggles to score the basketball, 46 points in their last game. This is obviously the two worst teams in the Metro Atlantic Conference. Actually, how can I forget? The Rider Broncs are also horrible in the Metro Atlantic. Rider 3-18 this season with a 2-10 conference record, but somehow they just beat the Peacocks in their last game as they had it was at halftime, but they had a full-court shot to, I believe, take a 3-point lead or extend their lead at halftime in Rider's last game. That's despite the point, though. The Metro Atlantic, these are two of the worst teams. Again, the Bronx may be worse. I don't know. I think the Bronx are, who knows? They just beat the Peacocks. Canisius and Niagara are both really bad. I understand. And yes, the first matchup we had bet on, I did not win. I was enraged by the Golden Griffins with their weird logo, with it being, what is it, half lion, half eagle? We looked this up the first time we had Canisius this year. It's just, is that not like scary? Like, what is that? Like, not scary, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it feels like that's a cursed image. Am I the only one thinking that? Like, looking at that logo? Like, it's got claws, but whatever. It's an eagle lion. That first matchup was awful, but what happened after that first matchup, the Golden Griffins lost? They fired their head coach. They could not take it anymore. They lost to Niagara, and they fired their head coach, and they were only 3-4 at the time in the Metro Atlantic, and yes, they have not won since, but they've been close. This is the game, in my opinion, where they break through, and we're going to make comps to that Boston University Holy Cross game. We're going to, again, these first two games kind of have the same game script, I'm not going to lie, so we'll get into the next one in a minute. But, you know, like Boston University, Niagara, both teams were struggling going into that game yesterday, but I was like, I think Boston University's got more talent. I think they're good enough to win that one. A little bit different here. Like, I don't think Canisius has, or, you know, I don't think their level's better than Niagara, and I don't think, you know, I can look at this roster and say, oh, Canisius is so much better. They're better than Niagara. Are they much better? No, and that's not going to be my main talking point with this bet. The difference is, though, the way they've been playing recently, and Canisius has been playing better ball compared to the Purple Eagles, a Purple Eagles team that tried their damn hardest to choke that last game against the Golden Griffins, but yet again they were successful on the road. Niagara went to one guy in that game scoring wise, and that's the only guy that ever scores for them. That's going to be Justin Page. Page scored 19 in the last outing against the Golden Griffins. He averages 13 points per game. Just put up 13 in back-to-back nights against Fairfield and Sacred Heart. So I mean, there's that. Has not played their last two games, though, against Siena and Marist. I don't think he's playing today. If he did not play the first two games of the homestand, I would not expect him to play today either. And that's a massive factor going into this one. They struggle to find production beyond Page. It's been Justin Hawkins, if I'm not mistaken, in their last two. Hawkins dropped 16 against Siena, 14 against Marist, but he's supposed to be, again, a complimentary guy, not the number one, and Hawkins has been forced to take over that role with the injury and the absence of Justin Page, who, again, single-handedly, I would say, won them that game in that initial matchup earlier in the year in Buffalo. So that's a massive difference. And again, it's like the Holy Cross game we talked about yesterday. Holy Cross is missing Nugent, their best shooter. What happened? They couldn't hit big shots in the clutch. I'm not telling you this game is going to play out just like the BU versus Holy Cross game did yesterday, but the scripts are similar. And what team is playing better going into this game, just like yesterday with BU, it is Canisius. Now, I know, again, it's hard to pick at this because, well, you know, both teams have sucked. Neither team has won since their initial matchup. But I do believe the Golden Griffins get this one done. They have a couple guys who can score rather than Niagara, who just has one. That's going to be Khalil Singleton, who's been averaging 14 points per game this year for the Golden Griffins, former Holy Cross player, and Brian Jonga, who averages 13 this year, and I believe his junior season out of Cameroon, originally at CSUN, and last year played at Central Michigan. And on top of that, too, I don't even need the Golden Griffins to win. We can have a close game. The last outing, you know, they did end up losing that game by 5, but I mean, they were right in it. They had a foul at the end, obviously, and then the Purple Eagles hit some free throws at the end, obviously, to extend that lead. But I mean, it was a 3-point game. No, yeah, it was a 3-point game with 13 seconds left. It was a 3-point game with 13 seconds left. And I believe it was an offensive foul, I believe. Yeah, it was an offensive foul by Canisius, gave the ball right back to Niagara, and they won, okay? This game should be close. I don't even need, technically, the Golden Griffins to win. I think they probably will. But if I'm getting 3 points or 2.5 points, 3.5 points, whatever we get here, we're just going to say 3 for the purpose of the video and the bet. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go with the Golden Griffins on the road in Niagara to cover the points and get their get back from earlier in the year. Hopefully their new coach can finally win a game. On now to our second best bet of the video. Again, similar theme. Okay, trust me, we're going to get into some bigger and better games later in the video, but I'm telling you, this is where the value's at today. It's a hard slate to pick from, in my opinion. I really look through these games and, oh yeah, Ole Miss is playing Tennessee, Duke's playing Boston College, Xavier is playing UConn, Miami of Ohio is playing Buffalo. Like, I'd love to talk about some of those games. There's a reason the books do what they do. I don't love Tennessee minus 11.5. I don't want to bet Duke to cover 27 points today. I think Miami of Ohio beats Buffalo, but I wouldn't trust them to cover against anybody right now. They've got the biggest target on their back in the MAC currently, and they're winning, and they're ranked 23rd in the country, but do I trust them to go on the road at Buffalo and cover 5.5 with a team that shoots like Buffalo can when they get hot? And oh, by the way, the last game they played went into overtime in Oxford? No, right? So, unfortunately, that's why we have to settle for a showdown in the Missouri Valley Conference. It is the two worst teams in the Missouri Valley Conference, in the Indiana State Sycamores and the Evansville Purple Aces. We have an all-Indiana matchup, as Indiana State, obviously coming on over from Terre Haute, Indiana, are going to Evansville, Indiana, to take on the Purple Aces. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the Purple Aces have won one game this year in the Missouri Valley Conference. You may ask, who was the team who had the displeasure of losing to the Purple Aces? Yep, it was Indiana State. Of course it was. Yep, that's Indiana State's. That's Evansville's only win so far in the MVC. It's their only win in the calendar year of 2026. It's their first win since December 3rd. Wow. They have 3 Division I victories this season. It is Indiana State, it is the Ball State Cardinals, and it is the Oregon State Beavers. Oregon State ought to be ashamed of themselves. My goodness. Yeah, that's difficult. I understand. Indiana State, they haven't won a game since that they've won one game, since that initial matchup against the Purple Aces. They beat Illinois State. They beat the Redbirds at home. CBI champions, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they won the CBI last year. I covered it. They went far in the CBI last year. I'm pretty sure they won the thing, right? Yeah, they did win the CBI last year. So, I mean, there's something. I know Illinois State has not been that good this year, but they weren't very good last year, and they found a way to win the CBI. But, again, we'll get to cross the CBI bridge when we get there, I guess, later in the season, if it's still a thing. I think it is. But Indiana State did beat Illinois State at home, and Illinois State is a pretty solid team in the MVC, and they did that right after losing at home to Evansville. But since the Illinois State game, nothing but L's. But, again, guys, it is very important to look at who you're losing to and how you're losing. And, again, I would say this is probably a better example of that BU. Now, it's the same thing. It's just like the last game we talked about with the New York matchup with Canisius and Niagara. The same thing applies here to our big logic of BU versus Holy Cross yesterday. Here it is with Indiana State and Evansville. Yes, Evansville won the first game. I don't really care. That's a long time ago, and they won it by 3 points. It's a very close outing. Here, though, again, look how these two teams have been playing recently. Since that initial game that was in Terre Haute that Evansville won, Indiana State beats Illinois State. They go to Murray State, lose by 4. They go to Bradley, lose by 7. They lose to Drake by 14. They go to UIC, lose by 2. They play Valparaiso, lose at home in overtime by 4 points. What have the Purple Aces done? Competitive loss to Bradley, sure. And then you go to Chicago, you put up 49 points against the Flames and lose 76-49. Did play Drake competitively, lose by 4. But their last game, they went to UNI, Northern Iowa, beat them 71-55. This team's been bad. They've been bad. I don't want to say they've been horrible, but they haven't been very good. Okay? Indiana State is on the cusp of winning right now. I guess you can kind of say that about Evansville, but, I mean, this is a continuous thing every single night currently for the Sycamores. They are right there every game, and they just can't close. They should be able to close against this team, a Purple Aces team that isn't that good. And I'm not going to try to tell you the Sycamores are that good, because they're not. The Sycamores are not a good team. If you wondered what is their other MVC victory since they're 2-10, well, it was against Belmont. They beat Belmont at home earlier in the year by 1 point in overtime. Belmont, 10-2 in the conference, looks to be the favorites currently to win the MVC and go to the NCAA tournament. It's just weird how things work, right? Belmont, by the way, has lost 2 games in the conference. They're both by 1 point to Southern Illinois and in Terre Haute to Indiana State. But Belmont's a team that went to UCI earlier in the season and beat Irvine by 40 points, 30 points, and Irvine's likely going to win the Big West and go to the NCAA tournament. So, again, college basketball is an odd sport. But Indiana State, I do believe, is in a good enough position to win this basketball game. I do believe there is more talent on Indiana State. And again, they've been playing well enough. They just have to actually execute and close a game, and I believe they should be able to do so. Now, The Purple Aces did get their best player back recently, Connor Turnbull. Turnbull had been out since early January. He got injured in the Northern Iowa game. Returns on the 28th against the Drake Bulldogs. Plays 12 minutes in that game and scores 7 points. He hasn't played since. I believe he got re-injured, so I don't expect him to play. He did not play on Saturday against Valparaiso in that overtime loss for, that's Indiana State. He didn't play against UNI, in their last game after Drake. I'm not expecting him to play this game either. Now, they had a pretty good outing in the Northern Iowa game at AJ Casey. He's been the other elite scorer, good scorer for the Purple Aces besides Connor Turnbull this year. Casey averaging 11 points per game, senior out of Chicago, Illinois, played 2 years with the Hurricanes in Miami. He was with the Billikens last year in St. Louis. He's stepped up recently, just put up 17, 11, and 4 in that game against Northern Iowa, but still no Connor Turnbull, at least we're expecting after re-injuring himself in the Drake game, not playing the UNI game. I don't think he's playing tonight. So again, I mean, these parallels are oddly very similar between our last game over in the Metro Atlantic, yesterday's game in the Patriot League, and this one too. And yes, the Sycamores lost the first game, but they've been right on the cusp of victory, and I think this is the game where they break through. Ian Scott has been the best scorer this season for Indiana State and just the best player on this team, averaging 14 and 7, has the senior out of Plainfield, Indiana. This is his first year playing Division I ball. He's been their most consistent scorer this year, but Camp Wagner will have his nights as well, averaging 12, junior out of Dallas, Texas, second year with the Sycamores after his freshman season with the Rice Owls. There's also Sterling Young, too, who's another guard on this team, averaging 10 points per game. He's their point guard. Dropped 17 per game last year at Florida A&M with the Rattlers over in the SWAC. He was the best player last year for Florida A&M. He's been pretty good this year, too, for the Sycamores. I think Indiana State wins this game. I think they get it on the road. I think they're good enough to overcome the road obstacle here. I mean, not the furthest trip from Terre Haute to Evansville, but I mean, it's a bus ride. I do believe the Sycamores get this one done. They're minus 125 on the money line. I do not believe in Evansville winning without Turnbull tonight, and I do think Indiana State gets their get back from their initial loss earlier in the year to the Purple Aces. Give me Indiana State Sycamores money line at minus 125 on the road in Evansville, Indiana. On now to our third best bet of the video. Let's move to the ACC. Virginia taking on the Pittsburgh Panthers. Let's try this again with Pittsburgh. We bet against Pittsburgh in, not their last game, the game prior to that on the 27th against Wake Forest, a game in which, well, it looked like the Demon Deacons were going to win, and they sold multiple opportunities, not just in regulation, but in overtime as well. The Pitt Panthers, I'll give them credit, found a way to come through and win the basketball game. Last outing for them, they went to Clemson, lost to the Tigers 63-52. I expect them to get blown out tonight. Virginia should be scoring points tonight. Virginia, I know Pitt hasn't been the worst defensive team. I'm expecting 80-ish points from Virginia here. I don't know if Pitt gets out of the 60s. I believe Pitt's covered this line in every single road game they've played so far this year. I believe they have. They haven't played a team like Virginia yet, though. They've played Clemson. They've played Louisville beat them by 41 points. There you go. I mean, if Louisville's able to beat them by 41, I kind of hope Virginia is able to do so as well. We've seen Virginia just completely smash teams at home this season. California, Stanford, we've seen it. I think that might be it at home at least. On the road, they went into Raleigh, beat the NC State Wolfpack by 15 points. This is a very capable team in terms of scoring a lot of points. They're coming off two big victories, both on the road against Notre Dame and Boston College. It's a team that's played 4 of their last 5 games on the road. Hell, they've won all 4 of those games on the road, with their only loss in that recent stretch being at home to North Carolina. But this run currently that Virginia's on is big time. They're ranked 18th in the country for a reason, and this is a complete smash spot for them over Pittsburgh. Why is this game at 9 o'clock at night over in Virginia? I know the ACC loves to do this. They have this 6 o'clock time slot, at least on the West Coast, and 9 o'clock time slot on the ACC network on the East Coast. I mean, I guess, well, Stanford and Cal aren't playing tonight, so they can't put one of them on this time slot. It's a really late night game. I mean, tickets are a hot commodity. I see on ESPN right now, tickets are as low as $5 for this game over in Charlottesville. That's something, but I do think this is domination for Virginia here at minus 13. Pittsburgh is a team that will struggle to score. It's a team that has lost majority of their games in the conference this year, as they're 2-7 coming off of that loss at Clemson. And I get it. Clemson was ranked 22nd in that game. They're ranked 20th now. If Pitt comes out to Charlottesville and scores and shoots like they did against Clemson over again in Virginia, Virginia is going to beat this team by 20 plus points. Because if you drop 52 against Virginia, they're going to likely be in the 80s, and we're looking at a 30-point blowout, give or take. Right? When Cal came into Charlottesville flat, it was an 84-60 final. When Stanford came into Charlottesville flat, 70-55. We've seen it before this year. I would not be surprised if we see it again. I just think we need to get a hot start out for Virginia. I think Clemson's going to come out a little bit cold. Sorry, not Clemson. Pittsburgh's going to come out cold because they come out cold in a lot of games. It's a dysfunctional team. We had talked about it as a big storyline going into the Wake Forest game, and I get it. We took a chance on the Demon Deacons. They still are two bottom of the barrel teams in the ACC. I was on the Demon Deacons because the fact that Pitt's coach threw his fan base and threw the student section under the bus for not showing up and being vocal enough that game. Because his team didn't have a big enough home court advantage. It was a whole mess earlier in the year, or I guess just last week, and so we played against Pitt, and still there was nobody in the crowd because obviously the fan base and the student sections lost, but Wake failed, and Wake had so many opportunities to try to win that game. I mean, they were down, I think they were down 1 point in overtime. They had multiple chances to win that game, but there was one that I can specifically remember. They were down by 1 with like 20 seconds left, and they could have just held for last shot, drive in, try to get to the line, try to find something up close. They pulled from, I don't know, 35. I'm not joking. It was one of the deeper threes I've ever seen to try to win a basketball game with like 18 seconds left on the clock. It was a catch and shoot down by 1 point from way beyond the arc. It made absolutely no sense. So yes, Pitt beats Wake Forest, but I mean, my goodness, it looked like Wake was trying to lose that game. I don't want to accuse a team of gambling, but that was horrid. All right. That was one of the worst, it was disgusting. Okay. If Virginia's able to score tonight, they will put belt to ass on Pittsburgh. They will. DeRitter's averaging 17 this season. He's been phenomenal for Virginia. How about this latest 3-game stretch for him? 20 points against UNC, 32 against Notre Dame, 17 against Boston College. I mean, he sits at pretty much 8 rebounds per game. DeRitter's been really good, obviously, the freshman out of Belgium. Malik Thomas, averaging 13 points per game, right? Former USF Don, very experienced college basketball player, as last year he was dropping 20 per game in the WCC for USF. Started his collegiate career at USC back in 2021, so played 2 years over in LA with the Trojans, 2 with USF. Now at UVA for his senior season. He's been their second leading guy. Chance Mallory as well is averaging 10.5, freshman from Charlottesville, Virginia as well. I like this team over Pittsburgh, and I do think they're able to put belt to ass here. Pittsburgh they don't play the most guys. Brandon Cummings averages 12.5 for this team. He's disappeared in the last couple games, if I'm not mistaken, got injured in their last outing against Clemson. Cameron Corrin, I guess, scores a little bit. He averages 12, but hasn't really done anything of note recently. Barry Dunning averages 12 points per game, senior. And then there's, I think, their best player right now by far, Roman Supula. Supula has been, a very reliable I don't want to say reliable. No, he's been he hits big 3-point shots when you need him to. This last stretch for Supula, though, freshman out of Brisbane, Australia, he's only sitting at 13, 15, 15, and 12 points, in each of these games. But for Pittsburgh, that's big because they don't score much. The rebounding, though, he's been, absolutely massive for. This is 6'3", who's put up 11, 13, 15, and 9 boards in his last 4 games. So he's been their best player. I think Virginia completely just dominates its basketball team, though. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to get those second chance opportunities that we've been seeing them get recently. I got to go with the Cavaliers at home to, win this game with straight domination. I'm going to go Virginia minus 13 at home against the Pitt Panthers. On to our 4th best bet of the video, we go to USC. Los Angeles, California for the Indiana Hoosiers and the USC Trojans. I believe this is my favorite bet of the day. Give me the Hoosiers to go to USC and win. Indiana, they are officially, I don't want to call them back because, we're talking about, oh, look how great Indiana is now. We're very confident they can get into the tournament as at least a 10 seed now. That's still would have fall from grace. But no, Indiana feels like they're almost back. They're still trying to rebuild and repatch things. And, just the Mike Woodson era was horrible. Trust me, I experienced it firsthand. I used to walk into Assembly Hall thinking, okay, well, which point guard's going to have a big game against the Hoosiers today? Is it going to be Keisei Tominaga? Is it going to be Ace Bailey? Ace Bailey? It's going to be Ace Baldwin. My goodness, I wish Ace Bailey. I watched Ace Bailey play Indiana. He was still in high school then. Right, that was kind of how I approached that year at Assembly Hall. It was awful the last year, the Mike Woodson era. Well, no, actually, it was not the last year. Mike Woodson came back last year. It's been bad with Indiana recently. They're a little bit better now. What can I say? A little bit. Okay, they are a little bit better now. Last three games, huge victories for the Hoosiers. I'm going to Rutgers and dominating, but the win at home against Purdue, massive. And how about that double overtime victory against UCLA? A game to me that really solidifies the Hoosiers as a tournament team this season, because now, okay, you have 6 wins in the Big Ten. You go to UCLA, pick up a huge victory in double overtime, coming off your victory against number 12 ranked Purdue. They've found good wins now, and as long as they just win a good amount of these games, like down the stretch, like as long as they win every single home game, which they should be able to do with the exception of Michigan State, and seriously, if they can win the rest of their games except for Michigan State, that puts you at 20 wins, and that puts you in the tournament. Beyond that, too, I mean, they have some chances to pick up some road victories. I'm talking at Ohio State. I'm talking at USC today. And this is another massive game for the Hoosiers because, okay, if they win this game and they win the rest of their home games, Wisconsin might be difficult, but I think they can win that game at home. Wisconsin, Oregon, Northwestern Minnesota, let's say they drop the Michigan State game. I think they can beat the Spartans, by the way, at Assembly Hall. Very winnable game. But as long as they do that and say they don't even get the Spartans game, they're in the tournament 100%. Definitely. They have to get in. I mean, the resume already speaks for itself, but this is an absolutely massive game for the Hoosiers to completely dominate the California trip or the SoCal trip. They already beat UCLA. Now here's a chance to beat USC, who, by the way, UCLA is better than USC. So, big time opportunity for the Hoosiers. Incredibly big opportunity. Because they should beat this USC team. I really feel like they should win this game. I understand USC has been playing slightly better since that disaster at home against Northwestern where they lost and they missed 17 out of the first 24 free throws. It was absurd. Last 3 games since, a road victory in Madison against Wisconsin, a road loss by 1 point at Iowa, and then a victory at home against Rutgers by 3 points. Yeah, this isn't Rutgers, though. This is not the Scarlet Knights who just lost Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. No. This is different. This is Indiana, who's going to now, actually have high-scoring games against you. They're going to push a pace on you. The team's playing well right now. Lamar Wilkerson has just been phenomenal. Obviously, the 40-point game earlier in the year against Penn State. I mean, the run he's been on recently, again, he's been monstrous all year long for the Hoosiers. He's averaging 20 points per game. Wilkerson last 3, 27 against Rutgers, 19 against Purdue, 24 against UCLA in the double overtime victory. I mean, what a find, right? From Sam Houston to Indiana, Wilkerson has just been phenomenal for this team. Tucker DeVries, obviously, his father is the head coach. DeVries from WVU, averaging 14 a game. Kind of thought we were going to see a little bit more from DeVries this season, but he's been really good. Like, I thought DeVries was going to be the number 1 scorer earlier in the year. He hasn't been, but he plays, and obviously big rebounder for this team. Double-digit rebounds in the last 3 for DeVries. Did have 22 and 10 against Rutgers. He's been very good this season. And then how about Nick Dorn in their last game? Dorn explodes for 26 points. He's been really good, actually, the last 3 games for this Hoosiers team. 23, 18, and 26 in the last 3. Dorn has seen a very expanded role recently. This is a junior who played at Elon for 2 seasons. He's averaging 10 a game, but this recent stretch for Dorn has been phenomenal. Played 48 minutes in the UCLA game. The Hoosiers are figuring it out. I don't really care that they're coming off a double overtime victory on, Saturday night? I don't care. I think that's enough time. You've had 2 days off. I think we're okay going into SC. I don't think this SC team's very good. I mean, I've watched it. There is individual talent, don't get me wrong, on USC, right? Obviously, Rodney Rice out for the season, but there is individual talent. Ezra Sarr, at his best, Ezra Sarr is really good, okay? Him versus DeVries, okay. DeVries holds his own. I'll tell you that. DeVries will hold his own. I'm not too concerned about that. Chad Baker-Mazara going to chuck up a bunch of shots. He's going to turn the ball over a million times, though. He will get into foul trouble. Doesn't move me. Chad Baker-Mazara is going to take a lot of shots. I don't really care. Like, I think Lamar Wilkerson is a better scorer and a way better scorer than him. Jacob Kofi, not moved. Elijah Arenas, I haven't seen it yet. He's going to be very talented. He's going to be great in his sophomore season next year. If he doesn't go to the draft, that he should come back to school for one more season. But I don't see it at Elijah Arenas yet. He has not played great basketball yet for USC. He gets into foul trouble pretty much every single game he plays. Hasn't scored more than 10 points yet in a game. Still hasn't completely found his shot, and he's still adjusting to not being the guy on a team for the first time really in his career. Going Indiana. Indiana should be a favorite in this game. I am shocked they're at minus 105. Every single thing about Indiana, they do better than USC. They're a way better defensive team. They have better scoring. They don't turn the ball over nearly as much as SC does. The only reason that they're, I guess, not favored is because the game is in LA. I don't care. I just saw his team play a better team on Saturday and win in double overtime. They took every punch they could take from UCLA, and they kept walking forward. Team's on a 3-game winning streak after dropping 4 in a row. They've won 3 in a row. This is a tournament team. There is so much momentum being built currently with the Hoosiers, and I do believe they beat SC in this spot. I don't think Southern California, I don't think the Trojans are that good. I don't see it. I get it. Chad Baker-Mazara's got his games. Ezra Sarr will have his games. They had 33 points against Iowa from Cam Woods, which came out of nowhere because Woods averaged 6 points per game. He dropped 8 in the Rutgers game. Cam Woods has been around college basketball since 2020 on 5 different schools. It's odd. I'm not even going to go over all those schools, but I gotta go with the Hoosiers here. I got to go with Indiana. I think they've kind of figured it out officially now. And this is a massive resume-boosting victory after going to UCLA and winning. They can sweep the SoCal trip. Absolutely. Give me the Hoosiers on the road in LA. Indiana beats USC. Give me Hoosiers money line at -105. Last two games Indiana's played in LA. Football and basketball, they won both. Give me the Hoosiers, -105 over at SC. On to our final best bet of the video. We end today with the late game at 8 o'clock in the Mountain West Conference. Yes, I'm picking Fresno State to beat UNLV. Yeah, I'm going to, okay? I know this is not the greatest, but I'm going to take Fresno State. I've been watching UNLV very closely. Obviously, we had them to cover at home against New Mexico a couple games ago. Did not go well. I watched them play at Nevada. That game did not go well. Don't be confused by the 13-point final score. They were not in that game. The way they're playing, I don't think they're going to be competitive. Oh, no, they're going to be competitive. I don't think they can win this game, though, on the road. And I'm telling you, that's what happens when you lose Tyron Jones. Tyron Jones was so massive for this basketball team. Tyron Jones was not putting up 20 points per night. Well, he did against Utah State when they went to Logan and won. But Tyron Jones, who's a freshman out of Vegas, 6'9", very athletic dude, can get putbacks, athletic, again, going to rattle the rim, got injured in the first minute of the New Mexico game. He's not back tonight. He's still not back. Tyron Jones is the motor to this team, and without him, they look so flat. Now, Gibbs Longhorn's going to try to do the most, and again, he's their best scorer. He should. Last 4 games for him, Gibbs Longhorn, 21 against Utah State, 27 against San Diego State, only 8 points in, again, that disastrous game for UNLV against New Mexico, and then 26 in their last outing against Nevada. Beyond Gibbs Longhorn, though, the scoring is sparse for the Rebels. It just is. It is sparse. And they have struggled in the last couple games. I mean, no one else scores more than 10 points other than Nas Cunningham, beyond Gibbs Longhorn in their last game. Kamani Hamilton scores 9 points. They struggle on the glass. Teams get second chance opportunities against this UNLV team. And recently, again, it has been a complete struggle for the squad. 3-game losing streak. If you were to tell me after they went to Logan and beat Utah State on January 20th that I would be picking against them going to the Save Mart Center to play Fresno State, I would have laughed. But that's what's happened in the San Diego State game. Okay, expect you to lose that one at home. But the New Mexico game, and really, again, you lose Tyron Jones in the first minute of that game. The next 79 minutes of basketball this team has played has been so lackadaisical. It has been low effort. They struggle to score the basketball. I can't rely on this team for anything here, to the point where I'm taking the Fresno State Bulldogs to beat them. And I feel good about Fresno here. I know Fresno, again, we talked about Fresno at the beginning of the year, bottom 3 teams in the conference, Air Force, San Jose State, Fresno State. Well, San Jose State and Air Force are still obviously down there. Fresno has graduated from the lowest tier imaginable out of the Mountain West Conference, as they have wins over Wyoming and Colorado State, who are now lower than Fresno State in the overall standings in the Mountain West Conference. I know their only victories in the Mountain West this year are Air Force, Wyoming, Colorado State, San Jose State. The way UNLV has been playing recently, and the way I believe they're going to continue to play right now, doesn't put them that far off of SJSU, Colorado State, Wyoming, and Air Force. It really doesn't, okay? And common denominator in those victories over Wyoming and Colorado State, again, at least just the good victories for them, at home. I know, again, Fresno State has struggled throughout the course of the season. First game that they played against UNLV this year, they went to Vegas and lost by 12 points. Okay, Gibbs Longhorn had a really good game for UNLV. Fresno had its moments. Fresno's up with 10 minutes to go. UNLV just went on a massive run to close that game. Fresno didn't score for like 6 minutes straight, and UNLV ended up winning it by 12. But Fresno was right in there against UNLV the first time around. They just closed horribly in that game. Again, final score shows a 12-point L, and that is fair. But Fresno, honestly, hasn't played that bad of basketball this season. On paper, are they as good as any of these teams? No, not at all. But you look at the overall body of work, okay, well, you lose to UNLV by 12 points in a competitive game through 35 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. Nevada lost at home by 1 point. You go to SJSU and win. You lose at San Diego State. Well, everyone in the conference loses in San Diego. Home victory against Colorado State by 10. Home victory against Wyoming by 3. Losing in the pit to New Mexico by 9 points. That's okay. Home loss to Grand Canyon. GCU's really good. GCU right now, guys, very sneaky team to win the Mountain West Conference. I don't know, there's a possibility that GCU flies every single student they have over to Vegas for this tournament. Who knows? I'm serious. Like, who knows? GCU, if they travel to this tournament like they do the NCAA tournament, which I'm sure GCU is going to, put the, back up the, bring the Brinks truck in to make sure their fans are in Vegas for that Mountain West tourney because it's their first one. I don't know. I have a weird feeling GCU, the Havocs, are going to travel to Vegas, and I have a weird feeling they're going to win the Mountain West this season. Just to make a statement, to send all these Pac-12 teams out, and I'm sure the Mountain West would not mind if their new team, and powerhouse, no, but their new team, former WAC squad, would win the thing over, I don't know, the teams are leaving like SDSU, like Fresno, not very good, but Boise. Like, I don't think the Mountain West would mind. So I have a weird feeling GCU is going to surprise a lot of people in the tournament. They're playing good enough basketball right now, but I know, again, very good home team. What happens if you bring their home court to Vegas for the Mountain West tourney? Just putting that out there. Anyways, I look at Fresno State, again, losing to Grand Canyon. Don't care. Air Force lost, or Air Force went on the road, obviously expected. Fresno's not bad. If they get hot from beyond the arc, they are pretty dangerous. Jake Heidebreeder, their best player, leading scorer, former Air Force Falcon and Clemson Tiger, averaging 17 points in his senior season. Zayon Collins is dependent on the night. Some nights he shows up, some nights he is non-existent, so we'll just wait on that. Deshaun Gorey has shown up recently, 12 points per game. He's been averaging, but this latest stretch for him has been really great, 31 points in the New Mexico game for the freshman out of Victorville, California. The big play, Wilson Jaquez, Jack Manny, we'll see again. It's kind of just a whoever's hot kind of plays more for them, honestly. It's been primarily, though, Jaquez quite a bit recently. Manny's been kind of squeezed out the rotation after his, Linsanity run in non-conference play for Fresno State. UNLV, again, Gibbs Lawhorn, that's kind of it. I'm telling you, the Tyron Jones loss really changes the squad because he, again, he's their extra effort guy. He's not going to, you're not looking at Tyron Jones when you need to score, but he is always there when, you need a putback or on a fast break. He's the momentum guy that gets you a big slam, and that right now just does not exist for the UNLV Rebels, and I don't think there's going to be any excitement, any momentum for this team going on the road into an empty building in Fresno at the Save Mart Center. I think Fresno wins a kind of low-scoring game, but I think Fresno is going to get it done tonight. UNLV coming off 3 straight outs. Fresno is coming off of the momentum of going to Colorado Springs and beating up on an Air Force team, Heidebreeder's former team. He beat them for the first time. Like, I think there's a lot of confidence going on with Fresno right now. By the way, they got 21 points out of a guy we did not mention yet, and David Douglas, a junior for the squad out of Park Forest, Illinois. He's put up 15 and 21 in back-to-back games as the former Green Bay player. I like the direction Fresno's in right now. They're a favorite at home against UNLV for a reason. The Rebels have been playing piss-poor basketball. I got to go with Fresno State at home to pick up the win to end the video. Give me Fresno State money line -120 to close things out tonight at home against the UNLV Rebels. Folks, thank y'all for watching our college basketball best bets here on February 3rd. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily college basketball best bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.